Hello guys, how are you? My name is Carolina and welcome to my channel. This is a channel where I mainly talk about cross stitch. If you're new, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come check me and my stitching out. And if you're returning, welcome back. I'm so excited you're here. If you're new, I'm also excited you're here. I'm excited for anybody who's here. So today is November 21st, 2025. And I say that so excitedly because I almost thought I was not going to be able to film. As you might be able to hear in my voice, I am getting over being sick and I actually lost my voice for a few days there. And my job involves a lot of talking, so I took some time off and then I thought I was good and I went back and I talked and I made it worse. And anyway, I'm on the healing end now. I've been good for a few days, but you can kind of still hear some there. So I have my water. I'll take breaks as needed. But I did want to get this video out there because really after this one, I'm probably going to only be able to update once more around the beginning of around the beginning of December, because I won't be back until January after that. I think I mentioned this in my last video, but I'm going to be traveling pretty much mid-December till like the beginning of January. Not in the same spot, but part of it is going to be visiting my family and part of it is going to be a trip with my husband's family with very few days in between to like come and sit and update. So yeah, it's going to be this one, maybe a video at the very beginning of December where I want to kind of share some floss storage that I'm kind of working on that I really thought would be fun. Maybe if I have time, but if not, definitely at least one update in December. And then that's until January. So yeah. So today, I almost didn't get to film, like I said, because of being sick. And I was almost like, dang it, I shouldn't have said anything at that last video I uploaded because I said, oh, I'm going to do the update around the 20th or the 21st, maybe the 22nd. And then of course I lost my voice and I'm like, shouldn't have made any promises, but all seems to be working out. It has been about a month and a half since my last update, so I didn't want it really to go much longer than that. I really was aiming for like 2 to 3 weeks in between, but life and sick and all of that happened. So I really didn't want to go any longer because then it would be way too long. Not that a month and a half is egregious or anything, but you know, still longer than I wanted, so a bit more to show. I don't think I'm going to show both diamond painting and knitting at the end of this video because it is long, but if I keep just not showing it at all because the video is long, I'm just never going to show you it because I'm always going to have long videos even when I do get to film closer together. I'm hoping they will be better, but since it doesn't always work out, I wanted to be able to start, like, kind of reintroduce that. Since I last shared with you in 2023, I did share some knitting and diamond painting then, but since I've been back I've only shown cross stitch, so I kind of wanted to reintroduce that. So I'm going to show knitting at the end of this video with like the tiniest dab of crochet because I only do a little bit in that, and then I'll do diamond painting next time, and that way it'll split it up and then I'll feel better about showing it at the end of videos because I'll kind of have reintroduced where I am with my projects there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and talk about my two starts. I do have two starts. Progress on all my projects. I have an acquisition to share and at least the initial thoughts of my plans moving into 2026. So alright, let's go ahead and get started with those starts. For my first one, I have it here, sneak preview of the fabric. I talked about this in the video I uploaded last week. It is my first and probably only very large full coverage design, and the artwork is Old Friends at Play by Ed Beer Jr., and this was charted by Heaven Earth Designs, so I'll put a picture on the screen of what that looks like now. And I believe I got this in either late 2016, early 2017, and it has since been retired, so apologies about that. But I did have a whole video on this start, so I'm going to talk a little bit about it now. But since I go a little bit more in depth than just talking about full coverage in general, I'm going to throw a card up here. I think it's going to come up in that corner, but just in case, maybe that corner, of linking to that video, and I'll include it also in the notes down below in case you want to go and kind of see that video a little bit more in depth if you haven't already. So my start is here and it looks way better than what I showed in that video. So there it is. There's a huge piece of fabric just for fun. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen here right now that shows the fabric when I first was measuring out the Q-snap and where I wanted to put it, just so you can see how large it is, because this is a big piece. So again, So this is on a 13 by 13 Q-snap that I'm using on my Lowry right now, but I can also kind of lay against my table and the lap depending on where I'm stitching on the Q-snap. And it's worked out all right. And I did do a center start. So the center's like right about here. So I counted just over to where this black stitching begins, and I'm working the black right now. So this is huge. It is going to be 23 by 30.5 inches on 25 count Easy Grid Lugana. I'm doing it 1/1 full cross. And it's ginormous. It's 439,300 stitches. And I go into it again in the video and like how I came on this conclusion and how this is probably going to be my only piece ever of this size. Because with a goal of between 2,000 and 24,000 stitches, or 2,400 stitches a month, it's going to take me between 18 and 22 years. So I'm hoping that I can hit at least the 2,000 stitches. That would be the almost 22 years. And if I did 2,400 stitches, it'd be about the 18 years. So I'm like, maybe 20 years? I don't know. But 20 years is, or 22 years, in 22 years, I will be 60. So I'm like, well, what if I give myself to 65? So that's 27 years. So I'm like, okay, definitely like the ultimate deadline is when I turn 65 is what I'm telling myself, which is crazy. That's why I'm like, I don't know if I can do any more full coverages because that's a lot. But anyway, I'm enjoying it. It's a very special piece for me. I talk about it a whole bunch in the video, but my husband and I have loved this artist and this piece for a very long time. So I had to stitch it. We actually have a print of this artwork in our home, but even though we have that, I love it so much, I wanted to stitch it. And I did want to share the funny story of the 310. So as you can see, I started with 310 mainly because I didn't have it kitted up, but second because it's the largest stitch count in the piece. But when I say it's the most, it's like by a ton. So at first I was like, maybe I'll do all the black and then like extreme cross-country style and then fill in. Yeah, I'm not going to do that because there are 85,959 stitches of 310. And if I follow my 2,000 to 2,400 stitches a month plan, that means like the first 3 to 4.5 years of stitching would just be in 310, and I really don't want to do that. So I'll probably be doing some and then filling in other colors and then going back and doing more and filling in other colors. I think the light is changing on me, so I really hope that's not super distracting. The other thing I did also want to do here, which I thought would be fun, is I wanted to show the reveal of how much 310. So you can see the piece there. There's how much I've already stitched, and just wait till you see all this light up. All of that is 310. So mostly at the bottom 2/3 of the piece, but some all the way at the top. So yeah, I'm starting in the middle because hopefully you can kind of see that the outline of the dragon's face will become visible when I fill that in. So I really wanted to start there instead of, oh, the light is going to adjust. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I didn't think about that because of the way I'm using my lamp. So apologies. But yeah, I thought it would be a fun place to start instead of starting up top. The second start I have is also full coverage, but much, much smaller. And this is from the Artisy website, and I decided to take a gander on Artisy because as I was organizing my OneDrive, I came across a couple of freebies I had from Artisy, and I was like, oh, let me check out and see like kind of what they got. I think I also heard somebody mention it on one of their videos. So I did, and of course I found stuff and I favorited a bunch of stuff, but I was good. I only got 2 patterns, which by the way, if you're seeing this before November 2025 ends, I believe they have a sale through the end of November, 20% off. And their mini patterns are only $4.95. So with the percent off, they're $3.95, which either way is a good deal. But so that's why I picked up a couple. But you know, if you're stitching one of their regular or larger patterns, it's a good way to save a bit of money there. So definitely awesome. So one of the pieces I picked up is Mini Rainbow Dragon. Picture on the screen of what that looks like, and I mean my jaw dropped. It's so gorgeous. I love it so much. They did offer it without a background, which I almost got, and I thought maybe I can use like a fun fabric, but the frill on the side back of the dragon gets cut off. I guess it'd be the back, but because he's turned sideways, it looks on the side. I thought it would look awkward. I mean, I guess you could frame it with like a mat or something, but I was like, you know what? It's fine. I will stitch the background. It's not a super big deal. I am stitching this on 28 count Monaco, white Monaco, 1/1 full cross. I ended up gridding this myself. And on this piece of fabric, it's only going to be 6 inches by 8 inches. It's like 149 or 159 by 200 stitches or so. So it took me maybe like a couple days to grid it. And it does fit inside a medium nurse hoop, which I think I'm going to leave in here. And I'm really trying very hard not to let myself sabotage my own frames by my pieces. I'm trying to like maybe have 4 Q snaps going in rotation. And I do have 2 nurse hoops of this size. I might get one more and leave this one in here just because it's a full coverage and it's going to take a long time to be done. But I would like to have 2 others for like projects that I want to switch in and out of nurse hoops. So I'm okay with this one staying on here, but other than that, I really don't want to do that. But anyway, I am digressing. So yeah, I think I would eventually like to get myself a larger piece of 28 count even weave easy grid and 25 count easy grid even weave, just to have ready to go. But I didn't want to, one, spend the money on that, when I had so much of this lying around. And honestly, a lot of pieces, it makes it really easy to fit, especially mini or small pieces. It's really easy to get a cut. I mean, this was a scrap left over from a bigger piece that I had. So I was like, I will buckle down and just grid it because I have the piece. It's gonna work. I like how it looks. Apologies. And yeah, I can get it started instead of having to wait. So I did start at the top with 310, of course, because that's what I had. But I am going to be getting, I guess, a little haul of floss, hopefully over Black Friday, and maybe get like, I have 4, I think I wrote it down, yeah, 4 full coverage pieces, all 4 which are going to make an appearance in this video. So Old Flint and Prey that I already showed you this, and 2 more that are coming up. And just get the most used colors for those 4 pieces, so I can get a good bit of progress and then slowly kit it up. I'm also working on organizing my floss. So the way I'm going to organize them, I'm going to kind of get myself all organized with my master set again. And for the colors that don't have a lot of stitches, I probably won't get a full skein and just work out of that. So that will also help. But yeah, I made my, I worked my way all across the top. I actually started in the middle because at first I'm like, maybe I'll just work it in here. And then I just ended up doing the whole top. So I could have started in the corner, but that's okay. I did do half stitches just to get myself around, but now I'm filling in all these spaces that are blocked off that are all filled with 310. Now the entire background is not 310. There's some other colors, so it'll be fun. I'm excited. I can't wait to show you guys more. But if you like that piece, by the way, they have the regular chart and then the large. So if you're familiar with hay terminology, it's like a mini, obviously mini. Regular is just the regular, and the large is kind of like their super size, and it is large. And I thought the mini, it caught my eye to begin with, and I thought it looked fine. And like I mentioned with Old Friends at Play, I don't want a ton of large full coverages. I don't mind having them. I think they're fun, but I don't want giant pieces that are going to take me 10 plus years to stitch because it just makes me go a little crazy. But if you are a big full coverage stitcher, oh man, the large version of this, I looked at it just for funsies. I knew there was no way, as gorgeous as it is, I'm not getting myself into another big piece. I just mentioned that with Old Friends at Play. I am perfectly fine with the mini. I think it's cute and beautiful enough as it is, but like, oh man, the detail on that large one, if I was more of a full coverage stitcher, it would be worth it because man, it's beautiful. But I just, yeah, I'm already kind of slightly getting burnt out on filling in that black. So maybe once I get into the colors, I don't know. But I'm going to be perfectly happy with this. I think it would look super cute. Also being nice and tiny and small. But yeah, if you're into that, you should check out the large one. And I didn't know this, but they have quite a few rainbow dragon type pieces on there. So they have a few different choices if you want to check it out. So shout out to Artisy there. But yeah, those were my 2 starts. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to progress. And then I will, again, acquisition and a little bit of plans. Alright, for my first piece for progress, I have my Fall Fairy. This is a Dimensions Gold kit. Artwork is by Ruth Sanderson, and I started her for my birthday in 2023. And I've had her for quite some time, I think since like 2016 or so. So it was time to start her. And I have gotten quite a bit of progress on her. I've been using her as a seasonal stitching. Oh, I guess picture here of what she looked like last time. And here's where she's at right now. And I am very pleased with how she's looking. I have used her as a seasonal stitch piece. So I've been working on her at least an hour a week since the start of autumn. And I am very excited with how much progress I've gotten. It has been a lot of fun. I do have to say, I definitely stitched on her a lot more at the beginning of the season, and I'm kind of like not stitching on her quite as much at the end of the season, but I do think, yes, one, it's because of being working on the same piece for so many weeks at a time, but also I think I'm just getting excited about like the plans I'm trying to make and how I'm going to start getting progress on some of my other projects and starting to think about next year. So I think a lot of it has also been that. I also think I'm going to put her away a little bit early because, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be traveling starting mid-December, and winter does not start till December 22nd, and I will already be gone by then. So I think I'm going to work on her through Thanksgiving and then put her away like through November, not Thanksgiving, through the end of November. And then on December 1st, I will pull out Woodland Enchantress, which is going to be my winter. She's not titled Winter Fairy, but essentially the artwork fits as a Winter Fairy type piece, which I've talked about before. So she's going to be my winter stitch, and she's not yet started because I actually got her in 2023 with birthday money to kind of complete my set of 4. And I was going to start her, and then I didn't, and anyway. So I am going to start her and get as much progress as I can in her, because while I'm traveling, I'm not going to be working on her. So that's like 2 weeks of winter. I'm not going to be working on her. So because I did a lot of work on Fall Fairy at the beginning of the season, I think it's okay. It's still got about the 13 to 26 hours of work I wanted. So I will wrap her up. I'm deciding if I want to backstitch or not. I definitely don't want to wait till the very end to backstitch everything, because I learned that lesson with my Dimensions Gold stocking that I last did. While it's amazing to see the reveal, it's just too much backstitch in one time. So I think I might either backstitch her right before I put her away or backstitch her right after I pick her up, because I could do her face, the leaves around her hair, and the leaves on her shawl can all be backstitched. Everything else I need to wait till there's a little more background filled, but that's okay. So I'm leaning towards leaving her not backstitched, and then when I pull her back out, doing the backstitching then. But we'll see. So that is where Fall Fairy is at again now. All right, my next piece that I have to show is Story Keeper More. This is a piece charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I'm going to put the picture here of what that looks like when completed. And I don't really have a before picture for, no, I do have a before picture of this. Let me insert that here. And as you can see, there were a bunch of parked threads, which I no longer have. And I've gotten quite far on this piece, so I'm very excited. So I worked in all those parked threads all up here, in this section here, and this section here, because I have definitely discovered I am not a parking girly. It drives me crazy having all the hanging threads. I do think there's a time and place for it. Like, there are some brown and gray stitches that kind of outline the word here, and it kind of made sense to stitch some of the letter, work in that black and brown, and then leave it hanging, and then work some more letters and then finish it up. But I just don't think I'm the kind of person that's going to be able to leave a bunch of hanging threads there. So I decided to work them in, and I think I'm just going to keep cross-country stitching, because that's what I tend to go to. And this is also on 28 count Monaco, which I did grid myself. I use Sulky Sliver in silver. I do have a gold and a red, which the red is nice on darker fabrics. I wouldn't use it on lighter fabrics now that I think about it. I'm not sure why. I think I got the red because the nylon gridding thread they sell is red, so yeah. But if I'd be worried that somehow I would like stain the fabric. But I have it in gold and silver and red. But I've been using the silver, and I think the gold would sometimes also be nice, but the red maybe just on dark fabrics. And this is 2/1 10 stitch, and it looks just fine, so I am happy with that. I did notice that it's a pretty even weave, but every once in a while there's a slightly larger square and I'll have to like go back in and add in a little extra black just to make sure it's nice and nice and dark, that none of the fabric is showing through. But again, from any good distance you probably can't even tell, but because it would bother me, sometimes I'll do the 2/1 half stitch, and I'll have to go back in over just to make sure it's nice and solid. But yeah, I'm very happy with that, where that is at. There's 2 main colors in this background area. There's a lot more colors than that, but there's 2 main ones. So I think those are ones that I'm gonna get when I get my little floss haul I mentioned earlier, and just work on that. And I do think I want to try and finish this next year. I think it's very doable. It's obviously not a super large piece. And I'm very happy with it, and I'm glad I decided to work all the way down and get all the words done, because they're all just in 3/10, so why not? It was very easy to work in, very easy to stitch, instead of trying to do a letter, which is what I did here. I did the E, and then I did that row, and then I was going to do the R and do those rows, and I think this helped me get a lot of progress done, and it's going to encourage me to work out these other colors. And I just realized I didn't share any stats for Mini Dragon or Story Keeper more, even though it's on Pattern Keeper, so I could. But I will remember to do that for next time, because I definitely want to get to the other projects, and it'll be fun to share in my next update, which I guess might not be for a little bit for those particular patterns, but that's okay. All right, the next piece I have is I call it the Paris towel, but oh gosh, I don't remember the name, but it's like a Paris themed bakery towel, decorative towel with some designs on it. And I am about to move the Q-snap to the last bit here, so I thought, let me just leave it out of the Q-snap and I'll share it. So here is the actual stitching. Last time I showed it, I had all the 2 girls done, and I had the cake done, and I had some of the jars done. So that's really what I've been focusing on here. I finished everything in the 2 jars in this corner. So there is a sucre and a vanilla, I'm not sure how you say it in Italian, but the sugar and vanilla jars, as well as this like flower and leaves, and these 2 lines at the bottom. So that's almost all done, and I had this as my work piece, but it's definitely coming back and forth now because I can feel the finish, and I'm gonna try and finish this before the end of the year because I think that would be awesome. It might be my only finish, so why not? The other piece that's left, and I'll show it from back here because it's the pattern, is the large jar on the other side, and it is a flower jar, and it's gonna go right here, and there's some lines that go across. So yeah, very happy that that is getting done. I want to iron it out and put it up. Maybe I was thinking of getting like a dowel rod and hanging it like as a hanging, and then let it hang. But I don't know, because I'll have to see. That kind of would require quite a bit of wall space, so we'll see. We'll see what I decide, but definitely want to have that done. This was a gift from my parents from when they went to Paris and went to Le Broderies Parisiennes, I believe is what it's called, and I'd love to go there one day, so we shall see. I would be very excited to get that done and show my mom, except I think I'm going to show her by just like putting it up and letting her see it whenever she comes over. And depending on, I don't know if she would like to have it for her house. I think that would be cool, but I don't know if she would prefer I have it here. So we'll see. Maybe I'll offer it to her and see what she decides, but that is where that one's at, and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, I can't wait to hopefully show that as a finish, maybe in that December video, but if not, in the January video whenever I come back. But hopefully would have been finished in 2025. All right, my last full coverage that I have to show, I think that's the last one. Yes, that is the last full coverage I have to show, is Star Wars by Tilton Crafts. This is technically called Star Wars Past and Present, and the entire piece looks like this. but I am only stitching the bottom. And that is because this is for my husband, and he is a huge Star Wars fan, and he is not a fan of the newer stuff. He is very traditional Star Wars fan. He has, I don't know, over 300 of the 450 to 500 books, and the newer movies, I guess, not just take liberties, they like directly change like what he considers to be very significant story points, and that just bothers him. So anyway, even though the older characters exist in the book universe, I don't think he would want to, like, I think it would just remind him of the movies. So I think I'm just going to do this top part, and I'm working at the bottom left up. So right here, bottom left. Yes, bottom left. Had to think about that for a second, because obviously I didn't want to start in the middle, even though I think the middle might be right in his head. I wanted to be safe and just start on the bottom. And then I'm gonna like try and work up so that I can hopefully just get their glow around their heads, and not the clothing of the other characters. I think it'll be blurry enough that it would be okay, and hopefully it'll be very easy to tell if I'm going into the stitches of their clothing. I think there's enough of a little glow here that I should be able to do that. So anyway, I am doing that on a 25 count pearl gray, I believe, dove gray, I think, Lugana. I didn't even grit this, but there are slightly big blocks of color, so I think I'm gonna trust myself. If it gets really crazy though, I suppose I can go in and grit. So you're not gonna be able to see much because it's super light. But this is like the neckline and the shoulder line of Leia's outfit. And here's a little of pink of that same. This is all in 3865, that like off-white color. So not a super lot to show. And the main reason I pulled this out was because it was on my whip go board, and I'm trying to give myself 1 to 2 whip goes, and call that, you know, accomplished for 2025, seeing as I started stitching so late in the year. I feel like I could put more stitches in that, but we'll see. We'll see if I pull it back out or not. For now, I think I have enough progress on it that I'm happy to mark off the square on my whip go. But I will see if I maybe can get more progress on it before the end of the year. If not, it'll definitely be one that I work on some next year, and go from there. It's a little hard to figure out how long it's going to take me because I'm doing 50%-ish of the pattern. So yeah, I'll have to figure it out. But that is where I am in now, and I look forward to getting more of it done. I also was happy because I was doing half of the pattern, it was very easy to find fabric amongst what I had to stitch it. And I also am glad that I had the dove gray, because I don't think that particular piece will work on a white because I'm cutting it off in the middle. So very glad that worked out. What else do I have here? I have a couple more projects. Okay, Victorian Charm. Alright, so this is a dimensions kit I got. Man, I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure it was a 2016 start, so I probably bought it in 2016. No, a 2017 start. And this is what it looks like. Just a regular dimensions needleworks kit. Super cute, but honestly, a couple reasons led me to almost UFOing this. But I don't really UFO a lot. I have UFO'd some things, but a lot of times I put stuff off to the side and just kind of leave it, and eventually I find my way back to it. So even if I had put it away as a it would be like a temporary UFO. It wouldn't be like a true UFO that I'm never getting back to. 2 reasons. One, I thought I lost the floss. Not all of it, a strip of floss. So Dimensions floss comes in these strips, but they're usually much longer, so I cut them in half. So I had 4 of these and I only have 3, and I realized that was part of the issue because I kept looking for a color, couldn't find it. And they also come double this length. So I fold these, I punch a hole that you can see here. I punched a hole and I, fold it in and on itself. So this is actually like this giant thing of floss hanging off of here. And that's just unwieldy to me. So I like the strips, but I make it a little bit more manageable. Right now, I just do the holes and the folding it in half, but I don't cut it anymore because I just realized it's too many strips of floss to keep track of, and I think that's what happened. So I was really turned off by that. But then the other thing, because really, between leftover dimensions floss I have from other kits, and just using a DMC and dimensions conversion, I could easily fix that. The other thing that really got me is I misplaced the bottom half of the pattern. So it's a long paper chart and I cut it in half, and I know it's somewhere in my bookshelf. I just can't find it. It's probably stuck between two things and that's all it is. But as of now, I can't find it. And I was just gonna give up on it at that point. Because I'm not going to buy the kit again for just half the pattern, and I really don't want to get some sketchy like version that somebody uploaded on Pinterest, because one, that's not really ethical, but two, and even though I purchased it, I'm like, but you know, I purchased it, but still, like, that person shouldn't, and they're not like benefiting from it, but you know, obviously Dimensions isn't selling it, so I don't know, it's a whole thing. But I'm just like, I know I could probably find a scanned version of it somewhere, but I don't want to do that because that's not really right. But I'm like, ugh. And then I was watching a new Flosstuber, and she mentioned that you can email most kit companies, and if you prove that you have the piece, they will send you a PDF. So I was like, oh my gosh, mind blown. I can totally do that. And I was doing a little bit of research, and it kind of sounds like you have to email them with proof that you own the kit, which basically sounds like a selfie of your started project. I don't know if it has to be a selfie, but like with it not being a selfie, I guess many people could use the same picture, and I don't know how much they control that. So if I email them, I'll probably do like an actual selfie so it can be like, it's actually me. Not that I guess they would know what my face looks like, but I'm doing my best to kind of prove like I did purchase this, I do own this. I just, you know, would like the PDF, and in my case, I really want the PDF so I can have the rest of the pattern. And it kind of sounds like, if I read it right, you can request 3 PDFs a month. Because of copyright issues or some sort of issues licensing, I don't know, but it sounded like you do 3. So I was thinking that I'm probably gonna see if I can get Woodland Enchantress started, so that I can show that she's a started piece, a work in progress, and I was gonna request Fall Fairy, Woodland Enchantress, and Victorian Charm, and I will report back and let you know if this actually happened, because I thought I might want to import my my fairy charts, since they're basically large full coverages, into Pattern Keeper. Not full coverages with just full crosses, but I think the chart would work really well in Pattern Keeper, so I'm gonna try. And I will report back and let you guys know, because I was like, I didn't know you could do that. And I know this conversation's being had because Sheila and EJ mentioned it in a couple videos ago, Sunshine Stitchers, by the way, about how like paper charts are great, but PDF charts, and like with all these readers, Pattern Keeper and Markup RXP, or if you just upload them as a PDF and mark it off with like your highlighter tool, it's just so much better because you can zoom in and really see a back stitch and partial stitches and things that can be kind of hard to see in paper charts. Sometimes even just full cross symbols if it's a smaller chart. So so yeah, and anyway, they were talking about how like they wish there was like a one-time QR code type of thing where you could request the PDF if you've already bought the pattern, or if it's a seller that like that's just not realistic, maybe they can sell you the PDF at a discount or something. So the fact that you can do that for kids, and by the way, since I mentioned the Sunshine Stitchers, that Flosstuber that mentioned that is Becca from Becca is Stitching. I will link anybody that I mentioned down below. And she, yeah, she was talking about having multiple kits, multiple pieces. Well, one piece from multiple kit companies going at a time, but she only likes to do one piece per company at a time. So one Dimensions kit, one Busilla kit, one Merjenka she's got a Luca S kit, she's got a Riolis kit. I think she finished a Riolis kit. Oh, I got a text message. Let's see if I can make that a little quieter. But anyway, she talked about getting the PDFs for a lot of those, and it was very helpful because, like, you know, PDFs can be really useful. So, so yeah, I'm gonna try that and report back. But yeah, so that's Victorian Charm. I didn't even show the that's Victorian Charm, the pattern. This is where I'm at, which is what you want to see, really. And I don't have a before picture. I just got a tiny bit done. So I had right across here done, and the new stuff is all this bottom bit here. So enough that I felt happy marking it off on my whip go, and that was the main reason I had pulled it out. Was it was the February call for 2024 whip go, and I just used my 2024 whip go for 2025. And at first I was going to do just whatever it was called in the 2024 months, work on it in 2025. But since I didn't pick up stitching till like around mid-year or so, I am just doing 1 or 2 whip go, like a row and a column is kind of my goal. And Victorian Charm was up next. So I decided to work on it a little bit, but not a whole ton. That is one that I don't even know if I'm going to pull out next year. One of the thoughts I did have was maybe touching each project at least once next year. So if I do go with that, I guess it'll get at least one day. But it's not one that I think is going to be in my plans because I really just wasn't feeling it. And again, I don't know if it was the lost floss, I don't know if it was the lost pattern, but I was definitely not feeling it. So it's going to go away for a bit. It's not going to be a temporary UFO. It's still going to be in the active whips. But it just might not be one I visit in 2026, or that maybe I visit once in 2026. So we'll see. All right, moving on to the next, because I can already feel this is getting a little long. So, other project I worked on, this is called, I think it's just called Owl by Leonard. It's called like Animals, Leonard Animals, and then underneath it just says Owl. And I got this kit like on super clearance many years ago. Picture of what it's going to look like here. And I don't have a before picture, but I can show you what I'd stitched. So basically I just had this brown bit here, and I really wanted to get to the eye, because did you see that eye? So I took one thread, I picked different colors and I worked it in until I got myself up to the eye, and that's what I'm working on now. I'm getting all the black done, and then I'll be filling that in. I'm definitely keeping this out for a little bit, but I more than hit my goal for it. Is also on my whip go, and it will make one of those rows and columns that I was talking about. So one of the reasons I pulled it out was that, but I really am excited about it. And you can see I have my black thread hanging. So I gotta finish that. But it, surprisingly, for how detailed it looks, it has a lot of, it's not super confetti heavy. It has lots of sections of the same color, so it's been really easy to just pick up a thread, work it in, and be able to move on. So I could very easily leave this in the nerd hoop, but this is my other nerd hoop that I want to rotate to other projects. So it's in it for now, and I want to leave it in it until I'm done working on it, and then take the nerd hoop out and work it onto another, add it onto another project. But I think I'm going to keep this out for a bit because I'm really having a lot of fun with it. 2 more, guys. So I had, in 2023, I had a Dark 13 stitching start, inspired by Jessie Marie talking about her, her starts, and her Dark 13 stitching. And I was like, oh, I have something. So on October 13th of 2023, I started Knock Knock by the Prairie Schooler. And I decided to pull it out again this October 13th. So I worked on it on October 13th and October 31st. And technically a little bit on November 1st because I didn't get quite as much of it done as I wanted. But this is, I have it on this huge piece of fabric because it fits in the nerd hoop. But it's actually quite small. This is on 22 count hardanger, which I realize I'm probably not going to stitch much on because 2 threads over 1, so 2 over 1 can be a little bit bulky. 1 over 1 is too sparse. I think if I do stitch on it, it'd be 2 over 1, but I definitely have to be something where it's very samplery and there's a lot of space in between, because like on the line going down here, the zigzag line, it really is fine. But in like the ghost and the pumpkins, it's bulking up. So when I first, I don't think I have a picture, but I had just the top done and a little bit off the side here. So I had this maybe to, did I have the owl done at all? I think I just had the leaf and the bat. No, there's 2 bats. The leaf is at the bottom. So just these 2 bats up top and a little bit of the zigzag. So I finished the zigzag all the way to the bottom. I finished all the details on the side with the owl, the other bats, and the leaf, and the cauldron, and the little flowers, I guess, that are orange. And then I did the bottom here. And I also did some of the outlining of the frame at the bottom, because I made a counting error up here and I added an extra row. So I wanted to make sure I didn't forget, and I added it down here so that when I pick it up, it'll make sense. And at first I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep this out and keep working on it, because that's what happens to me. I get a project out, I start working on it. I'm either like, yep, nope, gonna put this away, or I get super excited and I don't want to put it away even though I should. But after I got to the bottom, I'm like, okay, you know what? No, this is good. I will either pull it out on the 13th of every month, and if I want to try and do dark 13 stitching just to get it done, or maybe it'll just come out every October until it's done. And it'll take me years, even though it really doesn't take years. But I'm not using the called for. The called for is like a very dark brown. It's the DMC 3331 espresso brown that is used a lot. And the orange is a little bit duller, so I wanted a brighter orange, and I wanted it to be black. So I'm using DMC 946 for the orange. And I'm using this very interesting, and at first I thought I'm not going to find out what this is because I haven't seen it before or since. But I just Googled it because, you know, of the day and age we live in, we can do that. Apparently this is some vintage floss. It's Atco's Silkeen's Art Thread 6-strand mercerized cotton. So it comes in the same as any mercerized cotton. It does feel a little bit wonky, but I think it's because my great aunt-in-law, my mother-in-law's sister, loves like thrifting, garage sales, all that, and she's always thinking of everybody else, which is super sweet. So she's always coming up with stuff for the kids, stuff for my husband, for her, you know, for my mother-in-law and her family. But anytime she thinks anything crafty related, it comes to me. So she's gotten me like knitting needles. There was a latch hook, which I can use to kind of help a little bit with drop stitches and knitting. I think it's a latch hook. It like looks like a crochet hook with a little latch. So that's why I'm like, this must be what latch hook is. But she found a big bag of this floss, and it had like maybe 6 colors in it. So it had the black, a light and a dark blue, a pink, a red, a yellow, maybe a light pink and a dark pink. But yeah, it was, and there was a lot of black, so I just picked this up, and it's worked quite well. Like I said, it does feel a little bit funny, but I think it's just because it was thrifted. So I just run it through with some water and like wash it off and let it dry before I work the piece. So I took out like 2 skeins, but I'm really just gonna need the one. So I cut that into realistic lengths and kind of like patted it down with some water, let it dry, so those pieces feel okay. But yeah, so very excited about where that is at, but it's probably gonna go away, or it's definitely gonna go away at least till January 13th, but probably not come out till October. Maybe I can make it a goal to at least take it out after July or something like that and try and get a little more progress in it than just 2 days. Because I see maybe not wanting to pull it out the whole year because I'm going to be so excited about other stuff. But if I'm just pulling it out on October 13th and October 31st, it's just not much is going to get done on it every year. But yeah, the last piece that I worked on is Cross Stitch Nation by Heartstrings Embroidery. And I was really drawn to this piece because my LNS, or I guess my previous LNS when I lived in South Florida, the cross stitch cupboard, but it'll always be one of my LNSs in my heart, had a challenge with this piece a little bit before I started. I don't remember if it was a little or a lot, but the pieces, I remember seeing the pieces on the wall when I went. So it can't have been like that much longer because she returned them to whoever it belonged to. And everybody was challenged to, of course, use their own colors and make it fun. And again, if you watch the Sunshine Stitchers, EJ has her piece in the intro. No, Sheila has her piece in the intro. EJ does not, because I don't believe she was going either when this challenge was held. So yeah, had I done the challenge, I would have had to do the whole thing. But since I did not, I am actually going to omit the border just because I'm not a big border person to be going with. But also it doesn't, like, in my eyes, it doesn't like belong. It just kind of looks like it was thrown on there, in my opinion. But I am going to be stitching the people and the I Belong the Cross Stitch Nation. Of course, I'm using my own colors and random 28 count, I think it might be blush linen that I got somewhere. But the other thing I did is I wanted a little bit more variety in some of the things. So I wanted there to be 2 men. So I changed this girl here to another gentleman, and I changed his outfit slightly. So he's wearing a top hat. So I had the one I charted is going to be wearing a beret. And I changed like the shoes and the tailcoats and like the tie a little bit. Just so it looks different. And of course, they'll have 2 different color schemes going on, but I tried to change it so it wasn't like identical copy, just so it'd be a little bit different. I am also making different hair lengths, and what I hope will reflect different hair textures, hopefully, at least different hair lengths and styles. So like a couple curly hair, wavy hair, longer hair. All the hair is identical, and it's just like this weird bob that goes out, and I'm like, even if it was a bob, I just don't know if it would look like that. Like nobody's hair just goes whoosh. Like if you have a little bob, it just has like a little, you know what I mean? So anyway, yeah. And then I don't know what I'm going to do about this dress over here, because I don't really like, I know this is like hard to show. Maybe hopefully you can see that, but I don't like those leaves on there. So I don't know if I'm going to make that a solid color, or maybe I'll just pick something else to make it more fun. Like all the other ones I like, so we'll see. Maybe I'll use like the dots from this pink dress on this dress or something. We'll see. I've already recharted so much. But then the final thing I did is I'm recharting it so that they're holding different things. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitchers holding thread, 2 stitchers holding scissors, and 1 stitcher holding a hoop. And I'm like, that is not proportionate. So I charted in a Q-snap, I charted in a nudge hoop, and I think that's it. So I think I'm going to have, she's going to be holding Q-snap, thread, hoop, no, Q-snap, thread, scissors, thread, hoop, nudge hoop, and thread. So like every other one is going to be holding thread, and the other is just going to be some sort of stitching element, or stitching frame. So I do use scroll frames, but I wouldn't really hold it in hand. I only use really big scroll frames, so I didn't think it'd make sense to add that in. So I'm going to have a regular circle hoop, which I occasionally use, a nudge hoop, and a Q-snap, and I thought that would make it a lot more fun. So very excited about that. So let me show you where I was at, and I know one of the girls is totally cut off here, but you know what? I'll just be good and remove the nudge hoop. I can just put it back on. I mean, I'm using the extra small nudge hoop, which honestly I would use very little because so little fits in here, but it actually works out really well if I'm doing one character at a time. So I've got the middle girl, which I made similar to me because I was kind of going along the vein of the challenge, and I'm like, I used 2 of my favorite DMC colors. Oh, the 3, because the thread's also a favorite. Made her skin tone closer to mine, and her hair similar to mine, so kind of wavy, curly, and dark brown. Then the next girl I made holding scissors. So I basically, she's supposed to be holding, well, a thread, so I just made, instead of this girl holding scissors, I made the one right next to her hold the scissors. And she's fully complete. I followed the same idea of the color scheme, but instead of using a light green and a light pink, I used a more jewel tone, which are my favorite, and I made her have long, slightly wavy black hair. And then I'm working on the first gentleman, which is one of the ones that I recharted. So he's going to be holding a beret. These are his pants. I think I'm going to use gold and black for the color scheme for him. I'm still deciding if I'm going to do gold and like dark brown or gold and black. I think I'm going to leave the other gentleman in a light blue and a dark blue. I just have to decide because I don't know if I want the tie to be green. With the light blue and the dark blue, I might do like, I don't know, maybe like a silver tie? We'll see. Haven't decided. But yeah, this has been relatively easy to work on. So I kind of have just left it out and picked it up as I do stuff at the end of the day with my kids, like either they're watching TV or I'm hanging out with the hubby, or something like that. And I just work on that. And like I said, it's pretty easy to read the pattern on him, and I totally did not do the fabric super even, but I think he will still entirely fit on here maybe. maybe I should scooch it over some. Trying to see if I can re-put the Nurtupe on before putting this off to the side. But I am hoping, at first I thought maybe I could get it done this year, but then I realized it's probably not going to happen. So I think I want to try and make it a goal to finish next year for sure. So I'm really pretty excited about that. I think I can definitely make it happen. There we go. That's closer to where I had it. So yeah, and I've been using my bits of leftover floss for this. So lots of different kit floss on here. If I feel like there's a specific color that I want and I don't see it, I'll just of course pull the DMC. But it's just nice to like kind of pick a color because you don't need a lot of it. And just see if I have like one 6-strand thread of it left. That those 6 strands are going to be enough to complete it. So yeah, I'm working on the first gentleman here. Hopefully we'll get him done and move on to the next one and kind of go from there. But yeah, so that was everything that I started and have worked on between beginning of October and now, almost end of November. So yeah, I'm very excited to where I got. I'm going to have to organize all of this later, of course. I'm starting to really think about plans for next year. And I'm really looking forward to hopefully working a little bit closer together on filming, because I think that'll be really exciting, to kind of be able to get on here a little bit more often and not have these gigantic long videos. I guess I will go ahead and show you my one acquisition now. I won't make a new clip because I just have it right here and I only have one. But then I will break and show you the knitting that I wanted to show. Very quickly, plans-wise, I think I'm going to participate in 3 Stitchy games next year to help me move along with my project. So more of that to come in December, but definitely Whip Go. Sammy J's Whipagories, and I'm thinking Milestone Manor, which is Jessie Marie's new game that she has a lot more interest for than she thought. So I'm still working out how I'm going to do Milestone Manor, and so I'll talk about it / explain it a little bit more in that next video. My one acquisition is Cross Stitch in the Forest by Max Pigeon, founder of Pigeon Coop Designs. And I love me some forest stitching. Now his approach is very minimalist on the color side, so there are some patterns on here that I really like, but I think I would add in more colors. But it is really appealing to know that you can pick up a piece and just have, this one actually surprisingly has a lot for what he's got, but like here's a piece with 4 colors, here's another piece with 4 colors, but yeah. Now the piece that attracted me immediately to this book is, and there's plenty that I like. This was under $20, so very affordable. So even if I only stitch 3 of the patterns, I feel like that would be worth it. But this is the one that attracted me because, like I mentioned, I love me some birds. And my dad is like an avid birder. My mother-in-law really likes birds and is a birder to some degree as well. And my daughter's been interested. Like, my dad has been teaching her, and she will be like, well, that's a chickadee, and that's a Carolina wren, and that's a blue jay, and that's a cardinal. So quite a lot for such a little girl that, I don't know, it's cool. It's awesome. But I knew I wanted this pattern, so I'm like, that alone makes me want to support his book. But there are some other great ones on here. I won't show you everything. But, oh, she does also know woodpecker, so I might as well show you that one. I'll probably be making that. Other ones that I really like. Now, one thing, because his designs are minimalist, his animals don't have eyes. I think did the blue jay have, actually, the eye? It did, but a lot of his patterns don't. So I think for those, I would add a little spot of block for the eye. The creepy crawlies are fun. Oh, here is a heron at dawn. So of course I have to show you the other bird. Love that one. And just his design, they're so fun. I love it. Ooh, fox and butterflies I also really like. Obviously I'm drawn to all the animal ones, but he's got other things on here. So here's Mighty Oak. That's really cool. Let me show you one of the patterns I was talking about that has just a handful of colors. Okay, here we go. This is called Aurora. Like, I love purple. Don't get me wrong. It's my favorite color. But I would probably, even though this only's got, actually this surprising has 6. A lot of his have only 4. I think I would change it so that at least I would get a blue and a green in here into the Auroras. So I think they're very easy to edit if you want to add in more color, but if you just want something simple where you just need 4 to 6 threads, he's got that. If you want something that has a few more colors, he's got that. So really like it. I do believe he's also got a cardinal piece. That's just a PDF you can get from his website. But this is one of his favorites, I think, or one that he shows a lot. So that one, of course, the cover piece is in there. So just a really, really fun book. And I had done an event where we got a little gift card as a reward. So I decided to get this because I've been eyeing it for some time and it was just enough to grab it. So I decided to just go ahead and get it. I'm just trying to find this other one I really like. Here we go. Winter Walk. And here's an example of an animal that doesn't have the eyes charted. And I feel like I would want to add at least a couple black X's for the eyes. So we'll see. But yeah, and this is another one where like the trees, like it's very minimalistic. Outside of the bear, there's only 4 other colors. So like you could easily make those pines have more colors, you know? So had a lot of fun getting that. Probably won't be starting anything this year, but I do want to work on it sometime next year. I will probably start with the Blue Jay because that was my favorite. But yeah, I'm really trying to find more cross stitch books because I feel like I didn't realize there were so many out there that I actually am really interested in. I know that one that I really want to get is not coming out till next year. You can get a pre-order it right now, but you can't get it till next year. It comes out in April and it's by Needle Lock Designs and it's like a fantasy cross stitch, and I want her to get a lot of her patterns, but also her book to support her and to of course get patterns. Her designs are gorgeous. I will link her down below so you can check out her Instagram, but the eye for color that she has is incredible. I will go ahead and put a picture of the book that she's going to release here just so you know what I'm talking about in case you haven't heard of it, but I'm really looking forward to that. And when I was looking for that book and the pre-order, I haven't gotten it yet, so if I'm not able to, I think I just moved the table. If I'm not able to pre-order it, I will purchase it when it is released. I just haven't been able to get any of her patterns, and I don't know which one I'm going to start with because there's so many beautiful ones. If she recently released a whale shark one, I might start with that one because I like whale sharks a lot. But that is everything stitchy related for today. Like I said, I do want to show you some knitting and a tiny bit of crochet, so I'll be doing that. If you have no interest in that at all, that is okay. Thank you so much for watching the stitching. Apologies for my voice and some coughing here and there. I just didn't want to wait any longer, and I figured I have the time today. I have some time off to kind of rest and finish healing up, and I wanted to get this out there. But also, I know it's probably going to be longer than I wanted, but that's okay. I'm still going to show the knitting. Anyway, I'm excited to hopefully see you again at least one more time before the end of 2025 with some progress updates. I don't think I'll have any more starts. That's not true. I'll probably start Woodland Enchantress because that one is technically not started, but that's been planned for a long time. No impromptu starts, which both of my full coverages kind of were impromptu. I wasn't planning on starting them right now, but I ended up doing that. So I'll see you then. I might see you again one more time if I get a chance to make that extra video where I talk about my floss storage and my new solution that I'm super excited about and want to share. So I might do like an extra video and then mention it again in a regular update video later on. But yeah, that's it for the cross stitch. Thank you so much for being here. And if you are here to see some knitting, I will be showing that next. All right, guys. Hello and hi. Thank you if you're here for the knitting. I'm so excited to share. I am still considering myself a newbie knitter, even though I've been knitting for like 3 to 4 years, just because it has been a bit on and off, and I've mostly stuck to rectangular patterns or hats. And I'm starting to, like, I'm really ready. I think this next year is going to be the year I'm going to try some sort of garment for myself and socks, which I guess is also a garment. But anyway, The first thing I have to show I finished last year while I was I pregnant, or was I at the beginning of not beginning, like mid maternity leave? So when I was pregnant, I mentioned this before, couldn't get a lot of stitching because it led to kind of headaches, which led to nausea, and it was just not good. But I could do a lot of knitting. So I did a lot of knitting while I was pregnant and a lot of knitting while on maternity leave because I could easily pick up and put that down as opposed to stitching. So I made myself a hat with some nice chunky yarn. This is Wool Ease Quick and Thick, or Thick and Quick. So you can wear it with or without the brim. And I actually started this and had to frog some and finish it because I somehow turned it inside out, and I started working on it on this way. Then I started working on it this way, I guess. So like the inside became the outside, so I just had a bunch of garter stitches, which is not what I wanted. And at first I was like, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it. And I'm like looking at the pictures of it, and I was trying to pick pictures of it on my head, and I'm like, this looks silly. I'm just gonna take it out and fix it. It's really not that bad. So yeah, it's just a nice little hat. I don't remember what pattern this was, but it's basically kind of like a rib type pattern. And the scarf is a chunky lace scarf, and I do believe I have that pattern, so I'll link it that below if you're interested. There's also a YouTube tutorial, but here's the lace pattern. Let me see if I can maybe do it this way so you can see. So hopefully you can kind of see that. And I got way more of this yarn than I needed. I think I only needed 2 balls for the hat and the scarf, and I had like 4 just in case. So, oh well. But yeah, I loved it. I enjoyed making it so much, and I am glad I will get to wear it when it gets a little bit cold again for the rest of the year. So that was something I made for myself. I do have a blanket I am working on for my daughter, and this is literally just a straight stockinette stitch. Now, one thing that is going to be a little bit fun about it is that I'm planning on doing a crochet border in pink and aqua to go with the colors of the blanket. And at first I thought maybe I could knit it and like change back and forth between the border. So like knit the border colors, then change and switch into the blanket color, and then switch back out and do the border. And it was just getting to be a little unwieldy with all the yarn. So let me get this a little bit closer so that I'm not pulling on the ball. But this is what it looks like. It's going to be very wide because I want it to be for her big girl bed when we do get her big girl bed. She's still in a smaller bed because she's a small child. But also like I'm short, like so she's short. So her current bed we could keep using. But I'm guessing sometime in the next year or so she's going to want a big girl bed. So I wanted it to just not fit a smaller bed. I wanted to fit a bigger bed. So yeah, I've been working on that. Let me see if I can fold it in half so I can show you a little bit better. This is a Bernat blanket, 2 Bernat blanket yarns, Unicorn Dreams, and I forget the name of this one, but it's like an aqua sparkle Bernat. And I'm doing this on 8mm needles. And it's just, like I said, a simple stockinette stitch stockinette stitch blanket. And it's definitely a little wider than I thought it was going to be. And I am still not the best at editing patterns. I do the math, I do the gauge swatch and everything. And I think, okay, I need it to be this many inches. And it always ends up being a little bigger than I thought. I already had frogged it once, or tinked it once, and restarted it, so it was even wider, but I'm like, okay, no, this is way too big. And I wasn't so far along that I couldn't, I wasn't so far along where it would hurt to like pull it all out, so I just did it and made it a little smaller, and it's still wider than I wanted, but you know what, it's fine. She can take it to her college life or post high school life as well. So that's my daughter's blanket. It's almost halfway there. So I'm basically going to have four of these variegated panels and 3 of these aqua panels. So I've got 2 completed variegated panels, and I'm on the second, or stripe rather, and I'm on the second of 3 aqua stripes. So I'll have 1 more variegated, another aqua stripe, which will be the final aqua stripe, then the last variegated, and then I'll do the border. So hopefully that'll be long enough. I'm guessing it will be, since I'm always saying like, oh, okay, it's always bigger than I think it was going to be. So that is my daughter's blanket. I do also have, and I think it just fell, so I'm trying to slightly pull it without pulling it. I decided to start, of course, a blanket for my son. And I don't know what I was thinking, but when I was pregnant, I actually started a blanket for him already, but it was very thin yarn. And when I came back to it after I delivered, I'm like, what was I thinking? I don't know if the pregnancy hormones got me or what, but this is going to take me a million years to do. So I decided to change it to a worsted weight yarn, and I'm changing it to a corner to corner blanket. And even though it's going to be a square, I think it's going to be big enough that it'll be fine to use on a bed, even though it's a square. So it's cute. It's just got some stock in it, and then some little eyelets here. And I'm going to use a dark blue and a light blue. The dark blue stripes are going to be a lot thinner than the light blue, so maybe 2 eyelet links and then switch back to the blue. So far so good. It's coming right along, and this is on 5 millimeter knitting needles. So it goes pretty quickly. I just haven't had a chance to work on it much, but yeah, I think I'm gonna alternate working on my daughter's and my son's blankets probably while I'm here through December, and then when I get back. And even though I was crazy to start that other knit blanket, I did know there was no way it was going to be done before he was born. I didn't realize it would take me quite as long as I thought it would, so that's why I swapped it. But I wanted him to have blanket bay by me because, you know. So I decided to crochet him something. I'm not the strongest crocheter, so little crochet break here. I decided to crochet him a granny square type blanket, but it starts as a circle and it squares out. So this is also burnout blanket, and his room is bluey themed, so I have Bluey and Bingo's colors as best as I could get them in burnout blanket yarn. And here is his blanket, and this kind of hangs on the glider on the back. It's actually a little bit itchy, so this is perfect. Like the glider material is itchy, so this is perfect to put on top and have something nice to rest up against when I'm either feeding him or rocking him before trying to get him to sleep and whatnot, or just soothing him. So yeah, I actually hang it this way on the glider, so it kind of hangs like this, and you see about this much of it, and I love it. I've used this pattern a few times for, I think, 3 baby blankets now, so 2 others, and this was the 3rd. And it's just like a nice way to make a granny square a little bit different. And that is like my strength right now with crocheting, is square blankets, things in the round, because I have a hard time with tension. So that's why I don't crochet much, because when I have crocheted flat things, I'm always disappointed with my tension, and I'm just like, forget it. But I do really like the versatility of granny squares, how you can, just by changing the colors or just by adding in a circle in the middle and then squaring it out, you can make it different. And of course it works up relatively fast, so if I need a quick gift, I think I made 4. No, one of them wasn't it was just a full-on granny square blanket, but I thought maybe for a second I made 4 with these patterns, but it was 3 and a couple granny squares, like straight up granny squares. But just with the color combinations alone, you can make it different. So it's exciting. And I made, oh gosh, I think if I think about like just the granny squares, I made like 6 or 7 baby blankets that way. And the last thing I have to show you is actually a knitted, and it is my first garment. This is a dress. I will link the pattern below. So she's got a video tutorial, and you can just follow the video tutorial, but if you want the written pattern, she also sells it on her Etsy shop, and it's Knitting for Baby. She also does crochet the stuff, but I think the channel name is Knitting for Baby. And I believe she records in English and Spanish, so if you wanted to see a Spanish version, she has that. It's a little dress for my cousin's baby girl. I have not shown this on Instagram because she is an avid Instagram user, and she's liking all my stuff all the time, crafty and not. So if she sees this, I don't know if she'd figure out it was for her child, but even if she didn't figure it out, it wouldn't be quite as much of a surprise. But I am so proud of myself. It is my first true garment. I started a baby sweater a long time ago and I just didn't get very far, and I think it's not really that bad. It probably could finish it and feel comfortable, but it's my first like true garment with like really unique, like look at the yoke, it's so cute, and it's pretty fast for a knitted project. Like I said, I did a lot of baby blankets, and if I'm crocheting a granny square type blanket, that's not too bad, but I've done knitted baby blankets and that's always been my go-to, because like as a newbie knitter, I feel like the square rectangle pattern is like what you gravitate towards too. But like, it's a blanket, it takes a long time. Like, why am I putting myself in this situation all the time? So this is unique, cute. You can use it, and I'm making it, you know, a little bit bigger so she can use it for some time. I think I need to wash it. It doesn't smell bad. It just, you can tell it's been out and about. But maybe I'll use some light baby soap and wash it before I give it to her. I do need to get some buttons for the back so that it's got a couple button holes like here and here to close it. Maybe some pearl buttons. But it's going to be a little dress, and I've got about maybe 25 to 30 rows left to go. 20 rows of stockinette, and then 8 to 10 rows of garter as the bottom, like kind of end to the dress. And I'm really excited and proud of myself. So yeah, so very cool. And then small shout out to the hubby. I do have this in my 3D printed yarn bowl that he made me in purple because it's my favorite and I love it. So that is my knitting for today. That is everything for today. If you did stick around for the knitting, thank you. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear if you are a knitter, what you've been knitting on, and any tips you have for me as I navigate into the garment and sock world in 2026. But yeah, that is it for today, guys. I have no idea how long this is going to be, but I'm guessing long. So appreciate you for sticking around if you have. If you need to break it up, totally understand. Again, apologies for some raspiness and coughing there. But I think it went all right. And I am glad I didn't have to wait any longer than I thought. And my voice came back enough to do this video. And hopefully I will see you again one more time at least before the end of the year, and then again in January of 2026. So have a great day wherever you are. I hope you're enjoying your crafting time and you have a good one.